Welcome to Healing Generations, a podcast creating a dialogue uplifting the importance of healing, strengthening, and supporting our communities, and that addresses the disparities and inequities in communities of color. Healing Generations is brought to you by the Healing Generations Institute, a collaborative initiative of the National Compadres Network and the Brotherhood of Elders. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on our new releases.
Well, welcome and hello to everyone out there, all those that are with us today, listening from all over the world. We just welcome you today to our Healing Generations podcast, hosted by the National Comadres Network. And what a beautiful day. I'm over here in Hayward in the Bay Area in California, and it's a beautiful day with that sun just coming through and warming us up. We've had a little bit of storms, but we're very grateful that everything has come out well. And so very grateful to be with everyone here today. And this is Maestra Deb coming from Hayward, California. Comadre, how you doing?
Gracias. Thank you, Maestra Deb. I'm doing okay. I'm just really giving thanks for this beautiful day. We had a couple of days of rain here in Los Angeles area. Really washed those plants down and just gave them so much life and vitality. They're so bright today. The sun is out shining and everything looks so clean and fresh. The air is really nice and fresh right now. So I'm really taking advantage of all these beautiful elements around. And I'm just giving Creator thanks for another precious day of life.
Right. Yes. Very grateful for that breath of life. And so we are gathering again today for our podcast. And of course, we've got a beautiful guest with us today that we're anxious to share with you. But I just want to remind everyone that as you join us today and as you listen, the intention of this podcast, right, it's healing generations. And our intention is to offer that healing. And I know that there's going to be something that you hear today that will resonate with you. And hopefully that's going to move you forward to your own personal healing. And this is a journey that we embark on, right? It's a lifelong journey. And it's wonderful that when we gather and we come together, that we can join each other as we travel together. So as we go and begin our podcast today, I just want to invite you to take some time for yourself. Whether you have us on your earphones or just blasting there, take this time and really center yourself and allow that what's going to be said today, that your ears will hear maybe what you don't normally hear, right? That our ancestor will be present with us, our Creator will be present with us, and that it will bring healing into your life today. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Maestra Susie to introduce our guest of today.
Thank you. Oh, so honored. Been waiting for this day for a long time. Our special guest, Rahsmia Zatar, from Long Island, New York. The title of this podcast is, coming from Healing Generations. Talk about healing generations. She's been a powerful force of healing many generations and really focusing on our youth who are the next generation. She's very dedicated to her work and her community. She's currently the director of Strong Youth, a youth, family, and community development organization specializing in youth, gang, and gun violence prevention. Strong Youth's mission is to empower youth, to support them, activating change, building resources, cultivating leadership, social skills, and positive, productive ways for helping youth resist the lure of gang violence in the street. So honored. I know we could probably do about 10 podcasts with you and still not be done with the conversation.
Right.
But we're just so lucky to have you for the time that we have you. And I know you just have so much to share and so many words of wisdom from your own personal experiences and in the work that you do. So I'm just going to ask you if you could just please share a little bit about yourself, your family background and journey to this point in your life, and maybe a little bit about what you do.
Well, thank you so much for having me, for inviting me to this very important time to spend with you guys. I also have been waiting for this day for a really long time, and was giving a lot of thought to what I could bring to the table. And I had shared with Maestra Susie, that I was getting a little emotional. But the emotions are, it's not a bad thing. Sometimes we talk about getting emotional as if it was, it's something that we should be fighting. And I'm sure we'll get more into this, later on, because sometimes we run away from that. But I'm so thankful for this opportunity to share with you guys. So as mentioned, I am born and raised in New York, Long Island, New York, specifically, which is right outside for those not familiar with New York. It's a region right outside of New York City. My name is Rahsmia Zatar. I am daughter of Mildred Sanchez Nunez and Nader Zatar. My mother is of Dominican descent, a Dominican immigrant. My father is Palestinian and Brazilian. He was born in Brazil and came to this country as well as an immigrant. Growing up on Long Island, was interesting, especially the region that I'm from. A lot of people are familiar with New York City and, the progressive nature, of the work that goes on there. Long Island is a very highly segregated region. It's a harsh place for people of color to live, with the prejudice and segregation and marginalization. And I have made it my life's mission to be able to walk with community members, with those that are most marginalized, to empower, as you mentioned, for my bio. Our goal is, in technical terms, we do provide services, but our work is heart work. And our goal is to embrace and walk with community in order to elevate their voices, highlight their stories and their struggles, but most importantly, be able to expose the beauty and resiliency that exists within them, right? That in many ways has been oppressed and has been, people don't want our people to recognize their beauty and strength. It works for the status quo to keep us, in a state of of paralysis, where we feel hopeless and helpless. But it has been my personal life mission even before getting to Strong. But I had the amazing good fortune of meeting Sergio Argueta about 20 years ago in graduate school, and the organization was just starting. And I fell in love with his philosophy, because everything that the Comadre Network and the Compadres Network talks about and is about, the philosophies, it is our philosophy. It is. We're perfectly aligned to, all of our groups. And I had the amazing pleasure of meeting him and being able to join this familia. Again, we're a technical organization, but everybody involved at Strong understands that when they come into this work at our organization, they're coming into a family. This isn't, we're not clocking in and clocking out. This isn't that type of environment, and this is not the work we do. And if that's what you're looking for, you're not gonna be happy there, and when we talk about healing journeys, you have to be able to walk in this sense of family, and be able to love each other and support each other and elevate each other, as a family. So, we have a specific mission of reducing and eliminating youth and gang and gun violence, but those are just symptoms, right, of the hurt and injury that our communities are exposed to and have been dealing with. So we understanding that those are the symptoms of how it comes out, it allows us to pull back the layers and then start doing the healing work in very creative ways. Most recently, we started a farm. We have an agricultural program And we've brought the teachings that we've obtained from the Comadres Network and the Compadres Network. And we're out there inviting the community to join us, and we do circles, and we're running curriculums out there. And, when we talk about being able to take those teachings, but then really in a holistic way, have this amazing environment, right? Where we're out there connecting with the earth, and we're connecting with, with all aspects. You mentioned, the sun and and just everything, and it has really taken our ability to carry this message of healing, and really start to heal in a real fashion. But we try to stay as creative as possible, and that's just one example of some of the stuff that we're doing.
Wow, that is so amazing. Because I'm just picturing it in my mind, right? This beautiful land, and I'm planting, and just la cosecha, and what that whole process, right? That really is the analogy of really how to live life, right? And live life in a good way, because it has all those stages and processes. And because I've had the pleasure to go and visit you out there, and to see that with my own eyes, and the work that you do, just imagining the opportunity for the youth, wow, I really congratulate you all for that. And Rahsmia, I want to just take you back a little bit, because one of the things that we share, right, and it's that important cultural component, right, especially towards healing. And you shared a little bit of those beautiful genes that you carry within you, right? And I come from a mixture myself, right? So I have that Caribe, Puerto Rican influence, right? And then the Comanche Mexican on the other side, right? And they all feed into the person that I am. Can you share a little bit more about that for you, and really the contribution from both ends? And I know that, even within my own life, there's some of those things that were very difficult, but I can see how they've contributed to my healing today. And so can you share a little bit about your own personal journey there?
Absolutely. So, and I can't say enough about how lucky I feel to have come into contact with, both of you amazing women, and all the people you've brought into my life through this network. And I say that because I've realized that my healing journey, as mentioned before, has been something that I've been on and just didn't know how to name it, right? I didn't know what the components of it were. And it has taken on a whole nother level of impact in my life to be able to identify different activities and different thought processes as actual healing. As I mentioned, I grew up in Long Island, very harsh environment, really dealing with extreme prejudice, a lot of hate towards, our Black and brown people there, a lot of stripping of our dignity and our humanity, actively. And one of the first, and I've always said it, and again, it's just, I have a deeper appreciation now, understanding that it was healing that she was providing me. But my mother, from a very young age, I remember the messages that she used to give me, right? And she used to always talk about how amazing we were, and how to not internalize the messaging that we were getting from those around us that did not like us and did not want us there. And her words were constant, and it was just so empowering, and it was so amazing, and it was so protective, where it wasn't that we didn't feel, right, what was being done to us and what was around us. But my mom's ability to bring in her culture and talk about her struggles, being in the Dominican Republic and what it felt like for her to come to this country as a young girl, and the experiences that she went through and was able to continue to make it, right?
Yes.
And she just always connected us to her own personal struggle, but the beauty of of her ancestors. And I was always super proud of being a descendant of people from multiple cultures, and learning more. And I was always so eager to learn more and be involved with my family, and hearing their stories, and my grandfather, my aunts. My mom is 1 in 15, so there was plenty of stories to go around. But everybody being able to share, just how amazing the culture is, right? And how that translates into making us amazing, and not falling victim to the negative messaging, right? That we were being inoculated with. My Palestinian family, it's interesting. It's a whole different culture, right, than the Dominican family. But what I loved about being Palestinian and learning about my Palestinian culture is they are, I mean, beyond united, right? When you talk about a team, and historically, the Palestinian people have been dealing with tremendous struggle and tremendous injury and trauma. But again, seeing my family together, when I was able to participate in family events and go to weddings and be with them, and just seeing the strength that unity provided us, I was just beyond proud. And now looking back, I just remember the feelings of that when I was younger. But now that I have words to describe it, I understand that was part of my healing, right? And we're constantly being injured, right? Things are constantly happening to us, but just being able to recognize those tools, those blessings that I've received through being part of my families, and understanding that their history, and how they've overcome and how they're here, has been part of my healing journey. And and I've used it to be able to be the woman that I am today, right? And be able to now pay it forward, being able to join the Strong Familia, being able to join the Comadres Network and the Compadres Network, and being able to now pay it forward and say, okay, these were the protective factors. These were the things that was given to me, and now I'm going to offer it,
Yes.
to these youth and the families that I'm working with. So it's been an amazing ride. And Maestra Susie said it earlier, the healing journey never ends. It's lifelong. So I still have more healing to do. I'm seeking it. I'm figuring out ways of how to continue doing it and how to do it better. Number one, for myself, and number two, again, because I am now responsible for, providing a healthier healing journey to those around me.
Amazing. Wow. In hearing you speak, it's very obvious that your mother and father were very influential and strong pillars of strength for you and your growth. Your mom's words of encouragement and inspiration, cultivating you every step of the way, very obvious, very heart-centered. She was very heart-centered. Your father's side, it seems to be the message was about unity and standing united como familia. Whatever happens, like we're a familia and we're going to stick together and we're going to do it together. It's very evident and explains why you said in the beginning your healing work is really heart work. It begins in the heart. And we all know that. That's such a strong message that we always try to be an example of to the youth and men and women, children that we work with. It starts with love. It starts with first being present and trying to understand, meeting everybody where they're at as they are, accepting them as they are, and building that trust so that we can continue to guide and support and cultivate, their stories, bring out their strength and their beauty through our support as much as we can, creating connection and a sense of familia as well. I'm wondering if you can share with us a little bit about maybe some of the things that you're doing now to help cultivate and share those life teachings culturally, not only in a professional sense, but also a personal sense with all those youth that you work with. How can you integrate that? That's one of the stages, integración, integrating so that we can get on to the next stage, which is movimiento, the movement.
Well, I try to incorporate, healing concepts into almost everything I do. Every step, it's a conscious process, and so many times we walk through life not being intentional and not being conscious of the messages we're receiving and giving in our actions. And one of the biggest ways that I try to cultivate this work is by being very intentional and being as conscious as possible and being able to carry healing messages and in almost every aspect of my life, every moment possible. Surrounding myself with people that are going to help me in my own journey, but also provide me those opportunities to practice, right? To practice healing and doing this healing work. But what I can really say that it is a very conscious process, and I at work, it is, if you see I can't even begin to tell you literally from the beginning of the day, the way we communicate with each other, the language we're using, and you guys, we have our director of program, Beria, who is an amazing individual and is my sister. She's my sister in this process, right? And talk about blessings in life. So I was super blessed to have Beria be introduced into my personal life and into my professional life. And together we're able to, the way we develop agendas, the way we schedule meetings, the partnerships that we develop, and the partnerships that we agree to be a part of, the programs, that we're designing. Everything has to have an intentional healing component to it. And then in my personal life, now again is recognizing that I have been blessed, that I recognize that I have this ability to help, those around me in their own healing journeys. And now passing those teachings, to them, in my conversations that I have with my friends, now we were lucky to go through these trainings with NCN. But there's so many of these concepts that can be, you don't have to do it just in circle, right? A lot of what we were taught to do is things that can be implemented in your everyday conversations, which is, things that I try to do. It's just very important to be very forthcoming and conscious about how we carry ourselves and the things that we say. And we now, as well, going back to strong, we have really made our intention now is to take this into community and into the community development work that we're doing. And so I mentioned the farm before. This isn't something, a space that we're only utilizing for the youth in our program. It is literally an open space, and we're creating schedules where the community at large can come, and we're gonna do circles, and we're gonna do just give them a space to learn about their history, and be free of a lot of the oppressiveness and the hustle of everyday life. And sometimes healing is as simple as that. Sometimes I think sometimes we get nervous when we hear conversations such as this, and healing, oh my God, and that's so much work, and but healing is as simple as having space to connect, where you can let those stressors and the pressures of performing go. And these are the types of spaces that we're trying to bring to anybody who's open to it. You don't have to be a part of strong. As long as you're willing, we're there, to offer that. So I mean, those are just a few ways that we're trying, or that I'm trying to cultivate it through the reaches that I have access to.
That's so cool. So everyone is welcome to the Strong Farm, as long as you're strong enough to pick up a shovel, right? Now everyone is welcome, right? That's the beauty. And no, it's so exciting. And
what's interesting, sorry to cut you off, but what's interesting, one of the biggest surprises that we've had in doing the farm work, which it's a testimony of, number one, how much people are in dire need of healing, but also want to be healed, right? Is we were a little nervous when we did the started the farm, because we didn't know how it was going to be if it was going to be accepted, or if the kids were going to be open to it. Some of our population are immigrant youth that are familiar with an agricultural landscape, but most of them are not. But the way that our kids and their families have embraced the farm, and they're so excited to be there. Again, it's, to me, they are so hungry to heal, and they're hungry for the access to spaces where they can let go. They're carrying so much baggage, and they're carrying so much negativity, and it has been so well accepted by so many people, but namely our kids. It is just amazing. It's so heartwarming to me. And again, I'm just so happy that we're able to provide them that.
And it's within our DNA, right? Somos gente de la tierra. We come from this Mother Earth, this beauty, and we know, and it's even scientific facts, that reconnecting in that way, right, just really gives us a reset, that grounding that we so need, especially in this day and time, to go out there and face what we have to face, right? And thinking about that, because, you do so many things. And I know, you're in the schools over there, you're in the community, there's advocacy that happens, and it's always kind of in this, lack of a better word, but it's like a street battle, right? Always trying to advocate for those that are voiceless. I know also you're working with young women within the trafficking, and that's a whole other dimension, you know. And when I think about all these areas, and going forward, having to carry this and confront this on a daily basis, Rasmina, what gets you through those difficult times? You know, what strengthens you to be able to face those challenges, to be able to show up every day? Because I know it gets difficult, you know, and we get to those places where we think, oh my God, I can't do it no more, right? But then something kicks in and we show back up again the next day. And I'm just wondering, can you share for you, you know, what are those things? Where do you go when it's like there's nowhere else to go? And it strengthens you to continue the work that you do.
What keeps me going? My belief in people, my love for humanity, my belief in humanity. I definitely have very tough days and moments where it seems hard to keep going, but I am a genuine lover of people and, love learning about people and love exchanging with people. Because it's not a one-way thing. I love being able to grow and learn and exchange words and exchange stories. And quick anecdote. So when I started at Strong years ago, I was the sole social worker. So I was involved, and I ran our intervention program, and I absolutely loved my role. I absolutely loved it because every day I got to be with my kids, and literally they were my kids. And we would go up and down and to appointments together. Sometimes I had personal appointments. They'd come with me, and but I loved my connect. I looked forward every day to seeing their faces and hearing their voices, and just being able to be a part of their lives. And Sergio, who was he's the founder, and at the time he was the executive director. He recognized my administrative skills and had for years asked me to be his assistant director. And he's like, you're good. I need you to be my assistant director and help me out with management. And I always turned him down. I had no interest. And that wasn't because I didn't think I could do it. I most definitely had confidence that I could, but it was, I could never see myself not connecting, not being able to have that relationship with my kids and having to distance myself, from them. And I ended up becoming the executive director really because of that same love. Eventually, he had to leave the organization. And I believed so much in the work that we were doing. I believed so much, that the way that we walk with community and the tools we were offering were so essential and so seated in love that I couldn't imagine letting somebody else come in and take over the organization. So I reluctantly took the position, but what keeps me going is that love, and I'm pretty sure that is the answer that you would get from most of my family members at Strong. The way that I see them every day, the sacrifices that they make, to be there, to be constant in the lives of these young people and their families, the way that for sure they do. This is not a job for them. I believe I've been blessed with individuals that understand that this is hard work, and understand that in order for our communities to to continue to flourish and grow, we need to join in love, and it can't be because of a paycheck or a time card. But really, that is what keeps me going. And as far as my own personal, what do I seek? Again, I seek to surround myself with people that are also heart people. I see it in my friends. I see it in the people that I allow into my inner circle. These are individuals that care about people. These are individuals that can help me continue to learn about myself and reflect and process. And I can't say it enough. I know I've repeated it several times, but I feel like one of the most blessed people. Yes, I've been through a lot in my childhood, domestic violence, divorce, kidnappings. That's a whole nother story. Right. But, I really am a blessed person. And when I think of every phase of my life, I've had just some amazing people that were able to carry me through hard times, and help me continue on my healing path. But I just really try to surround myself and create spaces for myself where I'm able to reflect and process and not allow the tough moments really overwhelm me to the point where I can't go anymore. But yeah.
Thank you, Rahsmia. Wow. As you're talking, it's just so much in alignment, as you said, with the National Compadres and Comadres Network and our vision and our process. You're so right. We're so connected, familia-wise. As you know, the Compadres Network has always been supportive of women and girls all along. And now that we're continuing to develop in that area in the organization, with Maestra Deb and myself helping to coordinate these focuses for our women and girls and their healing process, we've been very intentional, like you said, intentional about what we want to do. And the word that always comes up is healing our women and girls, nurturing their sacredness through all the different stages of womanhood, starting with our youth girls, going on to our teenage girls, adolescent girls, our women, our young mothers, healing mother-daughter relationships, and on to our elders, our grandmothers, creating spaces for them to pass on their wisdom, their stories, and giving them the platform to do that so that we can continue learning and preserving, those stories and that medicine as we go forward. We work in so many different communities, as you do too. I'm just curious to know, in your community, I know there are many things, but maybe if you could share a few things that in your community, the young girls are struggling with the most challenging issues that you're helping to support the most. Every community is different, but I'm just curious on your side of town what some of those issues are.
So I think a lot of our issues are not unlike, issues that a lot of your young ladies are dealing with in different parts of the country. I think one of the biggest struggles that I've seen with our young girls is, and I see it not just with our young girls, I see it like with the mothers and the women that we work with in that as women, we are taught that we need to be strong and that we cannot allow our emotions to be expressed in the way that they need to in order for us to heal. So many of our young girls are carrying repressed emotions. And you see it then play out in very destructive, perspectives and behaviors and language. And one of the things that we're trying to do for these young ladies is to offer them, letting them know, it's okay to feel, it's okay to express what you feel. What is not okay is to stay stuck there. So that's why we're here, right? Because we need to, once we get that out, once, and you guys taught us that, once we express our cargas and acknowledge, it's okay to acknowledge, and we should and have to acknowledge. Now, how do we move along the process? So many of our young girls are starting to, that's we're allowing them that space to express and recognize their hurt, and then be agents of their own, of their own stories and how they're moving forward. Because again, a lot of our young girls are taught that they're not allowed to be strong. They're not allowed to be vocal. And that we cannot allow that to happen. We're seeing it, Deborah mentioned, we're working with a lot of young girls that are victims of trafficking, minor victims of trafficking, and these girls find it really, really difficult to express, the pain and the hurt that they've endured. But we are working with them to help them find that voice, help them find the words, find the ways of expressing what they're feeling, and then incorporating, their experiences into the solutions, into how they're going to move forward and overcome and help, their fellow sisters overcome and learn their voices. And so, it's, the work with young girls is kind of new to us. We had, and it was more because of the issue of gang violence has always been put out. People think it's a male issue. There's only males that are in gangs, and we. Unfortunately, we never believed that was the issue. We never believed that was true. But with limited resources, limited funding, and funders many times are the ones that dictate how and who you serve. We kind of fell in line with that for a while. But a few years back, we made an intentional decision that we needed to start addressing and incorporating the work with our young girls because they are so powerful. This is that. I'm not trying to put down our young men, but our girls. When we empower our young girls, we see the impact that it has on our young men. So they are so amazing and beautiful and powerful, and now being able to provide them, with the opportunity and the teachings for them to explore that strength and that beauty, and overcome a lot of what they're dealing with has been a really great journey for us, and as an organization, because even the organization goes through a healing journey, right? And it's been a great healing journey for our organization to start addressing the issues that our young ladies are dealing with, and being able to provide them some healing spaces.
What a blessing. I'm so blessed to have all of you.
You started this podcast with that it was work from the heart.
Mm-hmm.
Work from the heart, that heart full of love, right? And I know that we all keep stories in our heart, right? It's that story that keeps us in the game. And I know, like, for me, there was this young woman that was coming into our young women's group, right? And she had faced a lot of, adversity. Her mother was quadriplegic. Her father was in and out of prison because he was an addict. She learned how to, survive using her own beauty and being able to use it to get what she needed to get to survive. And so she came to our group. She was mandated by probation and she came. But I'll never forget the day when we were closing out our circle. And we always talked about that sacredness, but sometimes the sacredness is it's so hard to grasp, right? That I could really be sacred. And she went through the struggle. But that day when she was checking out and talking about sacredness, she said, I know I've always been trash, but today I understand that I'm good trash. And that was such it hit my heart, and even now, as I say it, it's very emotional for me. And it's one of the stories that I keep in my heart to keep me going and understanding the seriousness of the work that we do, right? Because that journey from trash to good trash, where other people will hear that and go, what in the world, good trash? Where's healing in that? But I understood it was part of that journey. So I understood the significance of those words. And I'm wondering if you could share with us, one of those heart stories that keeps you going and keeps you in this game.
So the story, the young lady that immediately pops into my head is a young lady. Her name is Genesis. I love that that's even her name. Her name is Genesis, and I met Genesis when she was about 15 years old, and she was going through a really, really rough time. She was out banging in the streets, selling drugs. But her home life was really, there was a lot going on there. And I remember meeting her, and she used to walk around with this like very tough girl, attitude. It's the mask that she was putting on, right? Mm-hmm. And she was working with one of our counselors, and the counselor ended up resigning at one point. And we were having an event. She showed up. It was like the last event that he was going to be at. And she shows up. And at some point, I see her in the back of the room just bawling. First time I ever saw emotion coming from this girl, right? But I'm hosting this program. So, I have her from the corner of my eye, I'm just watching her this whole time. And at the end, I walk up to her and, I'm like, what, Genesis, what's going on? Why are you crying? And she says to me, she's like, this is why I don't let people in. This is why I don't let people in my heart, because they always leave me. They always leave. And I was like, who are you talking? And she mentions, the counselor. And I said, well, I pointed out to her, I said, well, I'm sure he's not going to just disappear on you. And I said, but you also have a family here at Strong, right? So I started to build with her. I was like, this young girl needs reassurance that there can be consistency in life, and there could, and there's love and there's beauty in life, right? So I started to build with her, and Christmas comes around, and something told me, it was Christmas Day. I'm sitting at home with my family, and something told me, reach out to Genesis. And I reached out to Genesis, and there had been some fiasco that just happened in her house between her parents. And I said, Genesis, I'm going to come pick you up. I go pick her up, and I brought her home with me. And her face lit up. Her face just lit up. She saw the food, and she got to meet my mother. She got to meet my siblings. To this day, that girl talks about that, how that day was so life-changing for her. And it was something so simple. And I'm starting to get emotional because it was, for me, it was a no-brainer, right? I was like, I have to, she's going through a tough time. I'm bringing her home. She needs a home right now. And I remember she called her sister and was like, just talking, oh my God, and sending her pictures of the food. And she was like, the food. And I saw this girl just blossom in a matter of like a few hours. And to this day, she talks about that dinner. To this day, she calls me mom. I have all her cards. Every Mother's Day, she, gives me Mother's Day gifts. And that's my daughter. That is the daughter I never had. But again, it's a testament to what the changes, right? That the impact that we have, doing something just as simple as like extending an arm, extending some nice words, and just really loving somebody unconditionally and without pressure. And this girl, eventually came to work for Strong. She went through the NCN trainings when we brought them. She just recently left earlier this year because she's going to nursing school, and she's going after her dreams. But she was working for us for about 4 years with our elementary kids, and she was one of the best counselors because she had her own lived experience, not just in her life outside of Strong, but she was able to experience the transformational power of what healing does, right? And what being in a healing environment can do for somebody. And now she was paying it forward. So yeah, that's my story. She's one of the things that keeps me going.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Beautiful example of heart work. Healing heart work. Beautiful.
Yes.
Well, I'm looking at the time, and it always goes so fast when we're talking to you.
So fast.
But before we leave, I can't let you go without asking maybe if you can offer some wisdom, consejo, some type of advice that might help to support those that are listening, that are on their healing journey, that might be helpful. And it doesn't even have to be organizationally, professionally, just healing wise. What are some last words of advice that you would like to offer, especially for our young youth?
What I'd like to say is that healing is not always easy, but it's totally necessary. And if we are going to be able to make a meaningful life, healing has to be a part of it. And we need to be intentional about it. We need to actively seek healing. And too many times we put our emotions and our well-beings, on the back burners, and we let, life kind of manhandle us and set our priorities. But we need to prioritize our own healing. And that is a daily struggle, right? Because it's very easy to just get caught up in life. But my advice to anybody, anybody listening is, to really, really seek it, really, and stick to it. There's ups and downs in this healing journey. There are moments where things surface that are really, really difficult, but it's like a burn, right? You clean out the burn, but the new healthy skin starts to come, and that skin may have scarring, but it's the scarring that is proof of what we've been through and how we've overcome. So my advice is, just run after it, seek it, grab it, do it. And don't ever let anybody, tell you or overwhelm you to the point where you don't do it anymore.
Well, Rasmina, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to sit here with you. And as promised, I know that there was something that you heard and that you were reminded of. And we're in it for heart work. For those that are working in the community, thank you so much for your hearts, for that sacrifice that you do on a daily basis to help to bring healing to our communities. And for those of you, because I know that there are those out there that are in so much need for your heart to be touched. Well, reach out, because there are people in the community that are waiting for you. And as you step in, they will step out to love, to hug, to embrace you with the love that they have. So take this as an encouragement today, because we have wonderful organizations out there. And if you're in Long Island, there's a beautiful one out there, strong. Look them up, But trust me, there's people out there that are waiting for you. And again, just want to thank you. I thank you for spending time with us today. You could have did 101 things, but you chose to spend this hour with us. And so we're very grateful for sharing this time with you. And Rahsmia, thank you so much. Bendiciones as you go to the end of this year and embrace a new year. Thank you. And Comadre, it's another wrap for today. And so this is, from the Bay saying adios y bendiciones.
Adios. Gracias, Rahsmia. Our prayers are always with you, and they're just a phone call away. But whatever you need, anything for you.
Thank you, maestras.
Adelante.
Las aprecio mucho.
Bendiciones.
For more information about Healing Generations and the Healing Generations Institute, visit nationalcompadresnetwork.org and be sure to subscribe to stay up to date with our new releases.